Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. Wolves away at the Molineux. This is your Chelsea preview. We're going to look at some of Enzo Maresca's comments in his press conference. Earlier on today, there was a Chelsea news video that dropped. If you haven't already seen that, I strongly advise that you go and check that video out. And as well as that, if you haven't yet bought yourself a Chelsea shirt for this season, there's a link in the description, and if you use the discount code GBFC10, you get yourselves 10% off of your order. If the shirt cost 100 quid, it now costs you 90 because of the GBFC10 discount. The link is down below, and this is an exciting fixture. It's an exciting fixture because A, we have struggled in this game recently. B, Pedro Neto can't score against us now because we went and bloody signed him. And I've just realised I'm actually kind of wearing Wolves colours here. So this isn't the most well thought out dress code for this video, but I don't care. We're not here for all of these little jinxes and blah, blah, blah. We're here to build a Chelsea 11. We're here to talk a little bit about how the team is coming together. And when I've been thinking about what do I want to see, not only is it amazing to not have injuries at the moment. Reece James is recovered, but is he going to play? Probably not. Would have been good to hear that from the press conference though, really, wouldn't it? But I think for this game, there are so many things we can look forward to. I think the way that we're looking against Manchester City, when I look back at the performance and I think back to what it was like in the stadium, when you're at a Chelsea game and you're 2-0 down or you're 1-0 down and then you're 2-0 down, there isn't really any time to think, well, we're playing this well or we're doing that well. It's all about the scoreline. And you're looking at the time left of the match and you still haven't scored and you're playing against one of the best teams that's ever lived and you're just like, this isn't good. We're losing and now we've lost. Great. Okay, cool. You take a step back, you look at some of the highlights and you look at some of the extended highlights and you understand the way that Chelsea were trying to play. And for large portions of that match, Chelsea had possession. For moments in that game, we were trying to do something that we haven't always seen us do. And I think as much as we lost 2-0, and if you look at the table, we're near the relegation zone, whatever, at this point in time, I think it's much quicker what we're seeing, how Chelsea are adapting to the way that Maresca wants to play than I actually thought we were going to. Even during pre-season, as much as the results weren't coming, I think it was the speed in which I could see the players learning the system that got me excited. And it's carried that excitement through into this season. Now, we've got to address here one of the big questions that I have of Maresca right now. And I've become very excited about him. I love the way that he conducts himself in these interviews. I am not going along with the narrative that some people were just going to keep going along with, because I think a lot of Chelsea fans, and I'm not telling people how to support the club, this is my observation, it feels as though a lot of Chelsea fans have given up on him already and they don't really even want to believe that he could come good at Chelsea because he's a championship manager, because he's a yes man to the Clown Lake ownership. Fair enough, do your thing, all right? But I really think that he's going to take this team somewhere because I think we have got such a talented squad now. But the big question marks I have is his judgment of Robert Sanchez. And I'm saying this purely because of the way that he's answered this question. So Enzo Maresca's current plan. When asked whether his plan is to play Philip Jorgensen in European competitions and Robert Sanchez in the Premier League, Maresca responded, this is in the moment the plan, but the plan can change. I've said many times, I judge the players based on their level of performance. So not only does this confirm that Robert Sanchez is currently his #1 Premier League goalkeeper, Jorgensen is the European Cup goalkeeper right now. The fact that he's saying, based on performances, that Robert Sanchez is the #1 is the bit that baffles me. And I'm going to address every single thing this season. If there's something that I really like, you're going to know about it. But I'm also not going to shy away in the name of like blind positivity from the things I disagree with. And I straight up disagree with this. I still haven't seen this world-class distribution of Robert Sanchez. I've not seen it. I don't believe in it yet. And he also was a reason why we lost the game last week. Yes, he did make a couple of good saves, but he needs to do better from that Kovacic shot. and he punches it in his own net. It's a weak attempt of a save and it leads straight to a goal. And for me, when you've got someone like Jorgensen, who played on Thursday night, looked very comfortable, kept a clean sheet on his debut, and we've spent a decent amount of money on the bloke as well. I just think that this is one of the things I completely disagree with right now. And if it was me, Philip Jorgensen would be my number one goalkeeper. And then if he shows that he's going to keep making mistakes and maybe he's not very good with the ball at his feet, and he had one of the best save percentages in La Liga, I think, as well. So he's a top keeper. Then I think that's when you bring Sanchez back into the side. But as of right now, I just don't have the faith in Sanchez. I said I'd draw a line, and then straight away he goes and punches the ball in the net. So that's where I'm at now with that line. The line's been drawn, but I've kind of veered over the line again in terms of the support and the belief that I have in him as the first choice goalkeeper. Now, we're also going to talk here a little bit in this preview about Mudryk, because as much as we're going to talk about the players that I think will play, we've also got to look at the squad that we've got. We've got to look at the players that could make an impact off the bench. And I'm sure you can be aware, based on my review in 6 Things We Learned, that Mudryk's not going to start for me in this game at the Molineux. And we're going to look now at the comments from Maresca as well on Mudryk. Misha, this is Mudryk, not only tonight. Since he joined the club, he had some good moments and some bad moments. If he becomes more consistent, he can take one step forward. We're going to try to help him change. He needs to understand that we will give him the ball in the final third and he has to make the right decision. A lot of mistakes from Misha is about the choice. Hopefully we can help him and he can improve that. For me, once again, I'm happy to hear my manager coming out in a press conference and saying what we can all see. And as much as a lot of you were like, well, actually, Mudryk was the best attacking player, I'm sorry, but you're never going to change my mind on that. Every time he had the choice, and this is the thing, this is how teams like Chelsea can score 5 goals in a game. We get the ball into attacking areas quite often. It's all about what happens when we get it there that's the problem. And whether or not it's Mudryk Guiu missing an open goal against Servette, which 3-0 looks a lot better than 2-0, or it's Mudryk's got the ball and he's got a choice. He either bends it to the far corner, puts it in the back of the net, when he's literally got just one-on-one with the keeper, but he drags it wide. Or he gets to the byline, cuts it back straight to a defender, passes it straight to a defender, first touch heavy straight to a defender. And I think with Mudryk, this is absolutely spot on. At the moment, he's not even made a step forward in his career. If anything, he's gone backwards since he joined Chelsea. We've not seen that blistering pace that we saw on his debut at Anfield. We've not seen that ability to score great goals from outside the box like we saw against Shakhtar Donetsk. He scored that wonderful solo goal against Newcastle last season in the Cup to get us towards the final. That was to get us to the semi. But I think with Mudryk, he just needs to do more correctly. And I think he puts the effort in, there's no doubt about that. But he looks like a man who basically knows he's about to make a mistake. And I know maybe the YouTubers or the guys on Twitter or whatever, critiquing him isn't going to help him improve. Footballers do need to get a tougher skin here. We just watch the game and we're like, we expect better from a man that we've spent that much money on. I don't want to sugarcoat things, guys. I don't want to talk nonsense in the name of just purely protecting players when they've had lots of chances. Mudryk hasn't necessarily always had a string of games, but this is Chelsea. You've got to be delivering at the highest level to warrant yourself playing in a string of matches. And the reality of the situation is, with him, he's just not been good enough and he needs to be more consistent. Thank you, Enzo Maresca, for pointing out the flipping obvious. And then there's also the comments here on Mudryk and Guiu. I just told him he doesn't like easy goals. This is good man management. He likes difficult goals. It's normal. He is the youngest one in the squad. He is going to score for sure. I totally agree. I think this guy will become a good striker. And the fact he missed that chance the other day, I said it in 6 Things We Learned. When you put in the effort that he puts in, at this stage of his Chelsea career, you can laugh off a miss like that. Because he makes so many good movements to try and win Chelsea the ball. And he clearly wants it. He's desperate to make it here at Chelsea. He doesn't just want to be that 5 million boy that we bought from Barcelona that just simply gets loaned out at the first available opportunity. Not that he's going to play here, but I do think he'll start again against Servette. So, without any further ado, we're going to take a look at 2 potential starting 11s here for Chelsea. I've lined it up as a 4-2-3-1 because I'm still unsure if it's going to be the right back or the left back that we see inverted into that midfield. And then I think we've also got to be careful here that whoever's playing in that holding midfield role, how close do the 2 stay together? If there is a fullback inverting, who is those 2 in the middle of the midfield? Does one of them advance? Does one stay close together? And I think we've got to be careful with that because Enzo Fernandez absolutely operates better deeper. Caicedo's happy to roam a little bit and Lavia likes to just sit there and break things up and start the attack. So, what I've gone with here is what I think Maresca is going to pick, first of all, which does mean that Robert Sanchez is in goal, Malo Gusto right back, Fofana, Colwill, Cucurella as the back 4. I think as much as people say, well, Disasi looked good the other day, looked better than Fofana did, I think Wesley Fofana needs a run of games. I think we're going to start to see that confidence that made Chelsea spend all of that money on him back in the day. I think that's going to come when he starts to just play more football, when he keeps on playing out there, learning this new system, and Levi Colwill, in my opinion, is the best left-sided defender that we have right now at Chelsea Football Club. I think he's better than Benoit Badiashile. So that is the back 4. I've gone with a Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez pivot. I think Romeo Lavia has been so good, but he's also played a lot of football already. And I'm like, this is why I said at the start of this video, it's so tough to know what the right 11 is going to be. We're still learning what the 11 is going to be. And the reality of the situation is, the fact that I've even dropped Lavia from this first 11 is difficult for me to even vindicate, justify, and all of those things, because I think he deserves to start. I think he's been the most solid defensive midfielder throughout pre-season when it comes to taking on the instructions. But against Wolves, I just think, as much crazy as it sounds that I'm putting Caicedo in there and saying experience, but I think we just need a bit more of that nous. And I think Caicedo has maybe got a little bit more experience in this role right now than Romeo Lavia does. So I've gone Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. Cole Palmer right wing. I don't want to see him here, but he will drift. Christopher Nkunku as the 10. Pedro Neto, his first Chelsea Premier League start, left wing, replacing Mudryk from Thursday night. And then Nicholas Jackson through the middle. I think this is the kind of 11 that we might see start the game. You've obviously seen here there's no Joao Félix. I don't think he comes straight into the starting 11. I think right now, Maresca's already said that he's not going to be up to speed when it comes to the positional awareness of where to be. But to have someone with that ability to come off the bench to change a game for Chelsea, if we're struggling with creativity, it's brilliant now that we've literally got a speed dial for creativity. We can literally get Joao Félix off the bench, bring him on, and then there's also no Noni Madueke in this starting 11, but I'm going to show you now the starting 11 that I would like to see for this game against Wolves. And of course, it is Jorgensen in goal. It's exactly the same back line, and then I've gone with Lavia and Caicedo, Noni Madueke on the right, Cole Palmer central, Neto on the left, and Christopher Nkunku as the centre forward. I want to see Palmer and Nkunku both centrally. I think Noni as that isolating winger. Pedro Neto, exactly the same. Pace down either side. This could work so well for Chelsea. And I think with Neto as well, you get that defensive work rate because he's got the engine to do it. Got another 60 minutes under his belt in the game against Servette on Thursday night. And I think Chelsea here, against the Wolves side that have given us so many issues. They battered us at Stamford Bridge last season too. They like to score goals against us. They like to play on the counter. We've got to be wary of that. And I think at the moment, Madueke is putting in a lot of work. I think he's got that ability to be able to track back, but then also when we do win the ball, he's got the speed to get forward. And I think with Palmer and Nkunku, one of them being more advanced, one of them being deeper, you see Palmer loving to drop deeper to get involved. You like to see Nkunku do that as well. That's where he does his best. But right now, I think we're still figuring out what the best thing is. I don't think Nicholas Jackson looks as sharp as he did at times last season. Yes, you need match sharpness by playing match minutes, but I think Chelsea here, I want to see Nkunku and I want to see Palmer out there, and I genuinely think Noni Madueke deserves to start this game. So those are the two Chelsea 11s I've gone for. Enzo Fernandez in this second one, based on what I saw against City last week, I can't drop Romeo Lavia from the team that I want to see. And I also think Caicedo is necessary, especially with the way that he's better going forward, in my opinion, than Enzo Fernandez is right now. Enzo is great when he can scan and observe everything, when he's in the middle of the park and he's not getting too far forward. The further up the pitch Enzo goes, the worse he gets. In terms of the shots, they're always poor shots from outside the box, apart from against Aston Villa a couple of times. But in terms of the shot percentage that goes in, he's right down there at the bottom of the list of Premier League midfielders. I saw a great video from 442 the other day looking at Enzo Fernandez and what he does in the final third. It's not enough. So for me, I would go with the second lineup, but I think Enzo Fernandez will start and he will captain Chelsea. But this is a big game for us. It's a big game in the sense of there's already animosity. You've already got boos around Stamford Bridge. Like I said earlier, I don't get this. I just simply don't get it. Back the team. We have won our first game in Europe and we lost to one of the best teams ever in the first game in the Premier League. Give the man some time, all right? I know it's difficult to believe someone like me saying that when I've been managers out very quickly in the past, but I get now that this is probably not going to be the same. And I think we're actually going to go somewhere. I think we're getting better already. And as much as that first half against Servette made me very worried, the second half was significantly better. Players are responding. He's not going to start picking players unless they are fighting for the badge, unless they are training well. And I think Enzo Maresca is going to take there's no nonsense to be had here. And I think the players are going to come good with his system. Let me know your thoughts on Wolves versus Chelsea in the comments down below. Will we see Joao Félix? And I'm hoping that I will be able to live stream the watch along for the game tomorrow. If I can't, because the internet won't allow me, I'm going back home tomorrow. So we'll see how things are in the office. We'll be back for 6 Things We Learned straight after the game. Come on, you Blues.